Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Dance Studio, where we bring you the latest news in a short and informative format, and of course in the comfort of a studio. Now, in order to comply with the government's wishes, we here at Dance Studio have decided to self-isolate and to work from home, which is why, as you can see, we are no longer in the studio, but I still currently recording the show in my living room. As many people know, Australia has been deemed a multicultural country for many years. And it has been one of those countries that has proven that all races are able to live together in harmony. However, because of the recent COVID-19 pandemic, it has brought out some of the worst in Australians, bringing back racial slurs against Chinese Australian and Asian Australians.
This is the nasty message that confronted Jackson Feng earlier this week.
We feel angry. And also, we also are feeling a little bit frustrated.
A day later, he believes the same people threw rocks through his windows, terrifying him and his young family. He says he's certain of the motivation.
We are just, randomly picked up, targeted, and because we are Chinese, obviously.
Jackson Feng has now spent over $1,000 on a home security system, and he's scared to show his face because he fears for his safety.
There's no place in our Victorian community for that sort of conduct. It's just evil.
More and more people are now reporting racist comments and abuse from others who believe that because the virus originated from China, anyone with an Asian-looking face is likely to spread the disease. I'm shocked! How dare you think that? Now, I was born in Melbourne, Australia, and I've experienced my fair share of a lot of racism here and there. As I got older, I noticed that racial slurs did decline tremendously. This is probably because I reckon that the Asian Australians have become more and more accepted here in Australian culture. With the COVID-19 virus, it sort of brought it all back. After all the work I did, we're back to zero. Now, not to brag or anything, but I've been in my fair share of high school fights because of racist comments toward me. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. But that was because I was still highly immature back in the days. But for it to still be going on between adults, I mean, come on. Grow up. I commend the people who have actually stood up and said something as showing discrimination towards people just because they have an Asian-looking face. It's a bit too much. I mean, we're in 2020, guys. I'm sure racist comments should not exist anymore. It's 2020. 2020, new decade. I've already lived through 2 decades. So the 3rd decade of my life, you'd be thinking racism is gone. Now, there's been a lot of reports about people who have received racist attacks. A doctor in the city of Geelong had experienced a racist attack while waiting for his takeaway. Even in Melbourne, 2 female international students were allegedly assaulted by 2 other women screaming coronavirus, telling them to get the F out of our country, that they don't belong here.
A Geelong GP verbally abused by a woman in Hamlin Heights is the latest victim of a rise in COVID-related racist attacks. Dr. Ern Chang says he's speaking out on behalf of the many Asian Australians who've copped the same hostility. Stephanie Anderson met him.
Dr. Ern Chang was picking up takeaway meals when a total stranger gave him a piece of her mind.
This woman just approached me on the street and said, "Look, you have no right to be here. Go home while you're on the street and F off."
The GP is convinced the racist slur was fueled by COVID-19 tensions and the virus's connection to China. He was too shocked to respond on the street, but now he's speaking out on social media.
I thought about my friends and my patients who've gone through similar things. I thought, no, I've got a voice. Let's make it heard.
There's simply no place for that sort of behaviour in our state.
There have been defaced flags, public put-downs.
He called me Corona, he called me China.
And a campaign to stop the vilification of hospital staff, all since the pandemic started.
The COVID-19 situation and the discourse around it has given those actions legitimacy. People do feel it's all right to do that.
Last night, Jakara Brigham was released on bail after handing herself in over a violent attack on 2 students in Elizabeth Street. Police allege she referenced coronavirus and yelled, "Go back to China."
In my opinion, we belong here just as much as you do. In fact, I may be more Australian than those who accuse me of not belonging here. I have lived here all my life. I've had the Australian culture embedded in me since before I was born. So technically, you have no right to tell me to go home because I am home. This is my home. I may not be able to leave my home, but this is my home. I pay rent, my home. I signed the contract. So as a constant reminder, I would like to remind people that the coronavirus is a serious issue. We should be compliant with what the government is asking us, as social distancing is the best weapon against the virus. Now, we need to be understanding that the next couple of months are going to be extremely tough, but it is better for us in the long run. Remember to constantly avoid crowded areas and maintain a good level of hygiene. Always remember to wash your hands and wear face masks if you need to. If I have to remind everyone, there's no point for any racist comments to be coming out for whatever reason. This coronavirus doesn't affect, is not because of your race. It's because of many other different factors. And I just have to say, racism sucks. It sucks, man. Racism sucks. Now please remember to subscribe, punch that like button, and share our content. As we know, it's a tough time for everyone. Here at Dan Studios, we try to keep it as lighthearted as possible, trying to provide everyone with the best quality of content, keep everyone, up on their feet, as well as, give them all the information they need about some up-and-coming events or some of the latest news. So I'm your host, Dan. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good weekend. Goodbye.